Welcome back to the Leaders in Customer Loyalty series. This is Thursday, so it's the Brand Stories edition. The automotive aftermarket industry is evolving rapidly, and in today's uncertain economy, customer loyalty has never been more critical. Drivers, local mechanics, installers, and do-it-yourselfers are all demanding greater value, convenience, and experiences that feel truly personalized. At the same time, brands are under pressure to deliver those benefits while keeping customer loyalty programs simple, relevant, and easy to understand. Across the industry, many brands are rethinking and redesigning their customer loyalty strategies. Yet, too often, these efforts miss the mark. Brands struggle to truly listen to and understand their customers, unintentionally removing value while adding complexity, even as customers are asking for and demanding the opposite. In this episode, we'll explore how one brand, Advance Auto Parts, is leaning into this evolution, re-examining how customer loyalty can deliver meaningful value without unnecessary friction, and what other brands who are focused on customer loyalties can learn from that approach. Welcome to the show, Bruce Starnes. He is the Executive Vice President, Chief Merchant at Advance Auto Parts. Bruce, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. How are you?
Mark, it's good to see you. Excited to share a little bit about the work we're doing here at Advance, launching Advance Rewards, our new loyalty platform. So great,
Excellent.
excited to chat with you today.
I am as well. Love auto parts. I kind of like cars, so this will be kind of right up my alley. I'm not as handy as I probably should be, but I like getting parts and have to get parts, especially when you have three kids with a car. You know, they
Right?
always
Yeah,
always something breaking there.
no
Well,
doubt.
good. So, for those who may not be familiar, can you give us a brief introduction to Advanced Auto Parts? You know, how was the company started? Where was it started?
Yeah, so Advance has been around for more than 90 years, and started with the simple mindset of how do we get customers back on the road with the parts that they need, and frankly, that has been our value set, that entire time. So started in Roanoke, Virginia. We are currently based in Raleigh, North Carolina, over 4,300 stores. Our goal is how do we always put the customer first with their needs, with their cars, which is such a fun space to be in. You know, one of the biggest things that we all experience every day is driving. So we want our cars to work, and when they don't, our job is to help.
That's awesome. When you look at customer loyalty, I know we're going to talk about the new program here in a few minutes, very focused on customer loyalty, and it sounds like you are as well. When you look at the customer loyalty and kind of the people who buy parts, are there kind of different customer segments you have? People, the DIY guy that likes to do everything. Some people may just come in for windshield wipers and fluid. You know, what kind of groups do you have that frequent Advanced Auto Parts?
Yeah. So think of our customers in two buckets. First are pros, professionals, and we serve them every day. You know, they're one of the most important parts of our entire economy, right? They're always out there getting motorists back on the road. There are our Main Street customers, independent repair shops that service, local communities, right? And these guys have one, maybe two bay garages. Some are larger than that. And then we also serve a lot of the big national accounts, out there. So you got a set of pros, that we serve every day. And then we have our DIYers, do it yourself. These are our customers who are looking to save money by doing it themselves. They're enthusiasts. They like working on their cars. And we segment that group into two groups. The first ones we call our light DIYers. And these guys are basically comfortable with your basic maintenance, fluid checks, oil changes. They prefer jobs that build confidence, and the mistakes are pretty easy, right? You're not going to lose too much by putting too much fluid in certain parts of the automobile. The most advanced repair they might do is a brake job, right? That's kind of the borderline, right? If a customer feels comfortable doing a brake job, that's probably the point where they move into the other segment, which is our heavy DIYers. These guys, they are comfortable with any level of project. They can change fluids, they can replace engines, and they know their business and cars really, really well. So Interesting enough, whether it's any one of those segments, loyalty is an important part of it because it helps us understand, what is the customer doing, what are they working on, and how do we help them get one or two more transactions more, all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's customer loyalty can be and should be that fulcrum to drive a lot of decisions, marketing decisions, engagement decisions, and sounds like you guys are doing that quite well.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
let's talk about your role a little bit. Can you tell us about your role within the company, what you do on a daily basis, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so I'm the chief merchant here, right? And underneath that is your core merchandising team, right? The merchants on the floor that determine, hey, what are the products we put in our stores? Obviously, all the helpful team members that get inventory into those right places live within my space as well. But also have our e-commerce business, our pricing and promotional business, and then the marketing team, which his job is to tell the story of our brand, and this is where our loyalty team lives. So that's the makeup of my team. Very fortunate to have a great mix of team members who have grown up in the auto parts industry. They know the space really well, but then also some team members who've been at big retailers. They know what great looks like, and so it's that combination is where our team's made up of. I spent the last 20 years before joining Advance about a year and a half ago was at Target, and learned a lot of great things about what it means to be focused on the customer all the time, and that's a lot about what we've been trying to do here is get back at listening to the customer, understanding what's important to them, understanding what's not important to them. And I think that, I'll give our team a lot of kudos. That has been such a huge part of the last year, and the adjustments that we're making as a company. So.
Well, that's awesome. You talked a little bit about, or you mentioned that you're bringing people in from different backgrounds, right? And that's very important. One of the things about customer loyalty is that you can share best practices, insight across industries, and whether it's financial services, there's things that you can take away from that. And you mentioned obviously coming over from Target, uber focused on the customer, the younger generation, fashion forward. What are you able to, take from other industries? What are some things that you see that works, and how do you potentially integrate them into what you're offering?
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. So we're based here in the Southeast U.S., and we've got a couple of major home improvement organizations that are based down here. And so we've had a decent amount of team members come over from those multiple companies and taught us a couple things. First, they have a similar business model. They serve both their DIY customers and pro customers. And so learnings from them on best practices when it comes to, rewarding pros, practices when it comes to rewarding their DIY customers has been great. The other interesting thing is, customers who are doing a repair, whether it's on your car, whether it's in your house, you want to be able to have the confidence to do the job right, to have all the parts you need, to have all the experience that you need. So if you're going to do a brake job, it's not just about changing the pads and the rotors, but it's making sure that you have all the necessary things to complete that job with confidence, and to make sure that you have the safety of stopping, your automobile. The same thing happens in home improvement all over the place, right? The types of jobs. Do you have the right quantity of the parts? Do you have the total job? And so put a lot of things into our systems to make sure as customers come in, whether it's on the pro side or the DIY side, that we've got the parts and we've got the experience to make sure that they have that confidence they need. So it's been a great learning and a great benefit having obviously a lot of the great veteran leaders that we have here from the auto industry, but bringing in some different perspectives.
Well, I think you hit on a couple different things. There's B to B to C type programs. There's B to C programs. You kind of have both, right? You do have both, right? You're
We do.
serving the mechanic where I might take my car, right? And if they need different products, but you're also serving the do-it-yourself. And one of the things we see in our community, especially on the B2B side, is having the kind of that best practices, that insight behind them to help them do their job, right? You want to make sure the DIY person has everything he needs, friendly, forward, staff members that are experienced, but also to the local shop that may have one or two or three locations. You want to make sure you have the products, services, And you can simplify that. You become a resource for them in essence, right? Because many loyalty programs are trying to become that resource, especially in the B2B environment. How can I simplify what we're doing to help the auto mechanic that may have one, two, three locations, correct? So it's
That's
kind of a
right.
different
That's right.
take.
And if you think about, you think about a small shop, right? You've got a small shop, you've got an entrepreneur who's, just starting out in their career. Um, they've got a lot to manage, right? Not just actually doing the repair, they're running their business. And our job is to help them be a successful business owner, right? And if we do that well, if we remind them of different benefits we have by remaining loyal to us, if we help them establish, the right way to do the entire job, they will continue to be loyal to us. I've heard story after story of, shop owners who've been part of our experience for a long time. And it's because we helped them build their business together, with them. And so you can't get lost in the fact that these are humans. You've got to treat these business owners with the respect that they deserve. They're an essential fabric of the American community. And so it's important for us to keep that focus there too.
You mentioned the challenge of listening to and understanding customers. That's a pretty significant challenge we see in our community. It's definitely gotten better, but many brands have a hard time kind of removing themselves from their purview, their perspective, right? And putting it in that customer perspective. What do they want? What do they need? How do they want it? We think oftentimes that we understand kind of what that may be, but that can be a big challenge to kind of step back and listen to, but more importantly, action on all of that insight that they may give you, right? And you may not be able to do it all, but how do you do that so effectively? Because that's a pretty big challenge for many brands.
Yeah. Uh, two different ways that we've been focused on it. The first one is nothing's going to be solved in this building. This building here in Raleigh is great, but we're not solving it here. We're solving our customers' needs by being out in the field. And so, my team and I, we travel a lot. We're on the road multiple weeks every month, and we're in stores, we're in shops, and we're asking the questions that we need to get answers on. That has been a focus of my team for the last year, and we've done a lot to be out there as an organization. So that's important. But obviously you're not getting scale. We have 4,300 stores, so you can get out and you can get into a lot of markets, which we do. But then you validate that data with the different sources we have. So whether it's our net promoter scores, whether it's different review platforms such as Google, we look at those reviews every day. It is one of the first things that I do before my day starts is what was yesterday's feedback in the market. What can we do better, right? And each one of those things becomes, hey, is this new information? Is this reinforcing something that we're already working on? Hey, is this a new trend that we're seeing? But it just constant focus on the customer, listening to them and actually doing something about it.
That's awesome. And that becomes very important too when you take on the process or even think about doing a process of kind of redoing your customer loyalty program, which you
Right?
recently did, right? You
Yeah.
you replaced speed perks with a new advanced rewards. What prompted you to, enhance that program, modernize the program, at this moment?
A couple things. First, the platform itself was dated. There was just certain things that we couldn't offer to our customers, and so when you have a situation like that, you get a little bit of this opportunity to say, how do we want to start over? What is it that's out there? Do we want to take a look at the program itself, the name, all of that? And we spent a decent amount of time doing a lot of research with our customers, and then with our field teams, right, in stores, within our pros, listening to some of the things that they said, and a couple of things were pretty clear. Number one, they liked the program. It didn't need to be completely blown up. It just needed to be evolved. There were certain things that just didn't offer a lot of value. So we had a fuel rewards program. We only had a few customers use that. They were very loyal to it. They used it a decent amount, but it did not have broad use. In fact, we got that feedback over and over from customers that they don't use that. And then we also heard the idea that, hey, when I get a rewards coupon, and I'm a loyal customer and I'm coming quite often, I can't stack those coupons, right? I earn $5 and I can't use it, with another $5 coupon. And so those two examples are things that, so hey, we don't need to spend money on fuel rewards if we're not really getting the value for it. How might we turn that back into letting our customers stack their coupons? And in fact, once we started kind of getting a little feedback, we went on to our field teams. We said, hey, this is what we're hearing. Unbelievable amounts of positive feedback because they feel it, right? They'll be in the store. Customer comes in like, hey, I'd like to use this $5 and this $5. And I can't do that for you, right? And so now that we're able to solve that, it gives the field team a lot of confidence in being able to help their most valuable customers use the rewards that they achieved.
Yeah, and it's interesting. That's kind of a pretty significant enhancement and listening to customers because right now there's a big push to value, right? And many brands are asking, sorry, many customers are asking their brands, I mean, what can you do for me? How can you help me? It
Yeah.
may be a little rough right now, especially maybe the DIYers. They may be struggling a little bit, and some brands are trying to they may be taking away benefits, right or wrong, and then they kind of frame it as, oh, it's positive for you, right? We're taking these things away, but giving you this. Well, I really don't want that, right? But you seem to take a different track of, adding value because it's a long-term game, customer loyalty, right? So quarter to quarter, month to month are important, but it's really a long-term game that we should be focused on, correct?
It is. And if you think about just our industry, right? A lot of times customers will only come to us when something's broke or it's time for maintenance, right? So while we certainly have customers who are just incredible enthusiasts and shop us a decent amount, for the most part, this is an area of need. And so, for us to be able to say, listen, we're going to give you the opportunity to stack those coupons. We're going to give you that opportunity to save a little bit more, especially when some of these, repairs can be expensive. There's no doubt. That gives us the opportunity to earn that next trip back, right? That next time when it's, an oil change coming through, the next time that they have to replace a battery, we've been able to serve them a little bit better, maybe save them a little bit more money than we've had in the past. And I think that is the right play for us over the long period.
Okay. And one of the things that you did with the new program is you kept it fairly consistent, right? That the tier structure will remain familiar. First gear, second
Right.
gear, top gear,
Yeah.
and you put through meaningful updates and enhancements. So what was the thought process of going through that? You wanted to remain familiar, but you also want to innovate. So how did you balance those?
Again, listening to the customer, it's amazing. As we started this process and we started brainstorming, hey, what are the different things that we might do? It's fun to do that, but you have to be grounded in those particular dialogues that you have with customers, and again, what's important to them. And I'll be honest with you, our tier program, our customers knew it well. It made sense. They knew that the more they spent, they got to different tiers, and then once they got to different tiers, they were able to save more money. And so we wanted to make sure that we were able to continue that benefit, right? The
Yep.
second thing is, again, where is it that we started to hear things that we can add some benefits to that, right? So again, not just the adding on coupons, but another thing that we heard from our vendor partners is, hey, we would love to be able to provide you with additional promotional opportunities, for your customers. So now not only are we going to be able to, again, offer a couple of the things that we talked about earlier, but when our vendors come to us and say, hey, listen, we've got this great opportunity to create this benefit, we've got that capability now. And we know that that's a really great opportunity for us to go at our customers with the partnership, our vendor community.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome, being able to have the partnerships and being flexible in that regard. Because many technologies don't enable the flexibility; they don't allow for partnerships. But partnerships right now are probably a top two or three area of interest. We actually help brands facilitate them. But if you can get that right alignment the co-marketing deal set up right, you can get kind of the program aligned. Those can be a huge benefit for programs these days. I mean, because it's look-alike customers. It's the ability to add value. Again,
That's
that
right.
whole
Right.
discussion of value we talked about. If you can form that the partnership in the right way, don't you think?
I agree, completely agree. And by the way, we're both trying to achieve the same thing, right? You know, when we work with some of our big oil suppliers, that is one of the most important things that a customer can do is have their oil changed and keep the engine maintained. We're all trying to do the same thing, and we're helping them do that job on their own, so they can save money. And so it really helps us go to market as one team, that we just didn't have that capability, as recently as last year. So excited for that one.
Excellent. And you talked a little bit about kind of the stacking of the program, a coupon, should I say, and the benefit that that brought to the customers. And you look at that from a business impact, what are some of the objectives you were looking to kind of accomplish by allowing customers to stack the coupons?
It comes down to transactions. If we've got a customer who's been loyal to us and has been earning those types of rewards, and we say to them, hey, you can't stack your $5 reward. You're gonna have to use that each time. And again, customers spend a decent amount. They've done a couple big jobs and they've earned a set of coupons. We're basically saying you can stack up to $100. Boy, that's a meaningful value that a customer can apply to that next big job, right? And so for us, it comes down to transactions. If you know that remaining loyal to us continues to give you benefit that you can then apply to that next big job, we want you to keep coming back. That equals transactions. The program really is designed to do that. Keeps our customers coming back to us over and over again, and we'll measure the success by transactions.
And you talked about personalization as well. Another
Yeah.
huge area of focus, right? Make sure the right technology, making sure it seems like they know you at scale. What does personalization look like in kind of an automotive retail environment?
Well, listen, we're early on personalization. So now that we've got the platform built, the next thing we'll do is go ahead and turn our attention to getting personalized experiences, out there. And so there's obviously a lot of fun things that you can do. Obviously, as we know you, being able to say, hey, when's most likely your next maintenance cycle coming up, on different things. If we know that you're brand loyal, being able to tell about new products that are coming out within some of your favorite brands. And eventually being able to say, listen, we know that these are the cars that you are working on, and hey, here's additional deals that we have that fits, those cars. So there's a lot of opportunity in front of us as we start to build out those personal experiences, for our customers.
You touched on emotional loyalty, another very important topic, right? Because you want to get it beyond the transaction. You want to have a unique relationship because obviously they're less likely to lead, they're more likely to refer. But sometimes, or most oftentimes, automotive purchases are driven by urgency, necessity, and need. And obviously they may want to keep their family safe. They may have to get to the job. So it will have an
Right.
emotive appeal. And so beyond savings and points, how do you look to build emotional loyalty within your industry?
You're exactly right. There's just an urgency and necessity tied to many of our purchases. But I'll tell you, there is absolutely an emotional, connection to what the automobile does, for our customers, right? Whether you're an enthusiast, you love working on your cars, you love, being out there turning a wrench, or frankly, what your car does, for your family. And that's an important part. It's actually one of the new brand campaigns that we just launched, which is all around the emotion of advancing to the good parts. The idea being that, when you come in to get your battery changed, or you come in to do, a repair, what you're really doing is getting to the good parts of your life. Whether that's, hey, you're coming up into your kid's youth baseball game, you're going to a Thanksgiving, dinner with your family. The car is taking you to the good parts of your life, and our job is to get you back on the road. So we think there's a lot of emotion to it. We like the fact that, our customers are enthusiasts, and we like the fact that what we do for them, gets them on the road.
You talked about partnerships and the value that they bring. We talked about that a little bit. How do you go about choosing the partners to bring in? You talked about the fuel partnership may or may not have worked like you want. How do you decide which partners to bring into the program?
At this time right now, right, I don't know that we believe in the short term that there's a lot of external partnerships involved. We think that just our own offering, getting customers back into our store more often, is the right starting point. Certainly, we're open to learning as we go. But probably the bigger partnership, as I mentioned earlier, is things with our vendors, right? So I've mentioned a little bit earlier the opportunity to bring, different promotions in. It also gives us the opportunity to do fun things that we've not done in a long, long time. And I'll give you an example. In May, we're launching an exclusive sweepstakes that we're going to give a dream garage away, to a customer. So again, imagine we've got customers who are enthusiasts. They like working on their car. Here's this opportunity. We're going to partner with some of our vendors, and we're going to completely upgrade a customer's garage. And so making it easier for them to do some of this, in the future. That's just one opportunity that we can partner with our vendors to do something fun and engaging with our customers.
Yeah, that's awesome. You talked a little bit about kind of unique promotional opportunities. Sweepstakes, instant win are very impactful right now. The potential to get some zero-party data to understand what's driving customers' interests and behaviors. But oftentimes, customer loyalty is transactionally based. But when you look at the gamification elements, how does that kind of serve as a long-term engagement, emotional loyalty driver?
Again, we just chatted about the sweepstakes. We think that there's a lot of fun in that. But the reality of it is there's a lot of simple things that we can do that we were not doing very well, right? Simple ways that you can visualize how are you getting through, your different tiers, and figuring out ways that we can be able to offer, whether it's prizes, whether it's additional bonuses to get to that next tier, right? Those are some easy things that we're focused on in the short term that we think will be simple to understand, for our customers, and make it easy for them to understand where they are progressing, throughout the year on the different tiers.
Okay. You've done a really good job of integrating the mobile app functionality,
Yeah.
and point of sale, right? Because you hear quite often in the industry, you want to make it seamless. You want to be in the channel that the customer is in. So, when you look at the mobile app, the development you put forth there, how important is it to have a seamless omni-channel kind of customer experience opportunity loyalty program?
Yeah, it's critical. It's absolutely critical. Customers in our industry, 80% of them start their journey online. That's probably not surprising for anybody. If you just think about, hey, I'm getting ready to do a job. And if you don't do that job very often, you want to start with research. And our mobile app is one of our absolute best experiences. And so, we put a lot of energy into making that experience seamless for the customer. And we know that they're doing research. They're on there making sure that their local store has the right part for them, and making sure that they can get it in time for their job, right? So we want to continue to make that investment on that experience, whether it is simplifying that job that they have coming up, making sure that they can check all the research that's out there, understand reviews, but we know that is a really critical part of our customer's journey.
And how are you going to measure the success of the relaunch? Enrollment, engagement, spend, what are you looking at from a measurement perspective that is top of line?
You checked all of those, right? We're going to look at all of those. But as I mentioned earlier, transaction growth is really the cornerstone KPI for us in the category, right? So are our transactions growing? Are our transactions growing with our advanced rewards, customers, and all the different cutting of data, that's associated with that.
Okay. When you step back, the program has been out for a month now. What are you most proud of as the program is launched and you've evolved the program?
You know, It's such a good example for the rest of the company, about listening to the customers and putting them, first. And it was interesting. The decision on moving away from fuel rewards was an emotional decision. We had plenty of marketing materials out there. We had talked about it, um, but actually showing not just the data, but customer testimonials, that really talked about the fact that that just wasn't an important part of how they made decisions, right? And then also showing, hey, these are the things that are important, to customers, when it comes to loyalty. So to me, it is a really good example of our team listening to the customer, designing the program around the customer, and it shows that we can do more of that across the organization.
Okay. When you look ahead, what's next for the program? Where is Advanced Rewards going in the future?
Yeah, I mean, it is a really important part of 2026 and beyond for us. Um, you know, again, we believe so much in the fact, that if we can keep our customers coming back for the things that they need for the cars, their maintenance categories, when something breaks, we know that we can support them through that, right? 60% of our DIY transactions are from this customer base, right? So it's an important part, of our customers. We have 16 million active
Wow.
advanced reward members. And so for us, they're an important part of our future. Every opportunity we can to get them to think about advanced auto parts more. Every time that we can get them to realize that they can save more money, continue through the program, gets them coming back, more often than not. And so, we're excited about the program, and we also know that we've got a lot of opportunities to keep adding more benefits and making that user experience, even better, as it rolls out.
Okay, excellent. And last question, Bruce, what can Loyalty 360 do to help you and your team in your customer loyalty journey?
For us, learning from experts like you who talk to many different programs, learn things that are working, learn things that, hey, people have tried but may not, be valuable. So for us, it is just such an amazing opportunity to listen to experts, to learn from experts, and help us grow our program. So excited to be on the phone, having this conversation and continuing the relationship.
Absolutely. And now we have our wonderful quick fire questions. I think we have 6 questions today, like a quick
Yeah.
word, one word or a short phrase, or I get in trouble with Hannah and the content team, which I don't like being in trouble. But we kind of touched on this earlier. What loyalty award programs do you admire and are you most loyal to?
You know, Interesting enough, there's a number of travel programs that are out there, and love miles, love some of the hotel things, but the ones that can connect your experience to what you've done. Thank you for being an X member. Here's X for you. That shows that they've paid attention
Yeah.
to the loyalty that I've given them.
Yeah, that's gets back to that listening thing we talked about earlier, right? Listening to and kind of and reinforcing that value. So I think
Absolutely.
that's is there a brand that you own that you may be most loyal to? You kind of hinted at a couple. Is there one that you find yourself, very loyal to?
This goes back to, my dad was a mechanic for a long time. And he was a loyal Ford guy. And that has stuck with me. I love the brand. I've had many other vehicles besides Fords, throughout the year, but it's amazing to me. I do like that brand, and I tend to root for them.
Yeah, I'm a huge Ford guy myself, and we were talking about it in my family a couple weeks back ago, and we were talking about something. She's like, "Well, we're definitely a Ford family." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess we are. Bronco, we have Explorer,
Oh
F-150."
yeah,
So I'm
we'll have
just,
to we'll
yeah,
have to have a Bronco conversation someday.
yeah. Whatever you do, don't get catback pipes. That's all I say. But
It's
yeah, that's,
great.
that's all. We can talk about that later. But yeah, I love my Bronco, and I got catback pipes on it now. I have to take them off, but that's a whole different discussion. My neighbors don't really like it, but
I
it's
bet your neighbors don't like that. Yeah.
no, they don't. Is there a book that you've read that you like to recommend to colleagues?
I love Good to Great. I love Good to Great.
Okay, great. And is there a profession that you maybe would like to attempt other than the one you're currently doing?
I'm a big NBA basketball fan, so the idea of being a GM and putting together a roster, building a team, that would be the dream job. But I don't think I'm going to go for that after this.
Okay. Who's your favorite team?
Minnesota Timberwolves.
There we go. Good. We'll probably see you in the playoffs. Nugget fan. So
Yeah,
we're gonna bump
we
heads
probably see
somewhere.
each other.
And who inspired you to become the person you are today?
No doubt, my parents. Very, very fortunate to have two parents that I think taught me a lot of really good lessons of hard work, taking care of people, and it's definitely them.
That's awesome. And last question, how do you want to be remembered by your friends and family?
Man, that's deep. You know what? I want to be true to who I am. Be kind, be polite. To people. Be something that creates positive energy with my family and friends.
Okay. Well, Bruce, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. It was a pleasure speaking with you, getting to know you. Great
Right.
to hear that you're a Ford guy, learning more about the advanced reward programs. The passion you have for the brand, for the program, for the customer resounded quite clearly. And, oftentimes we don't have that, but this was one of the best interviews I've had in a while. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate what you guys do.
Also, I want to thank everyone else for taking the time to tune in today. Please be sure to join us every Thursday for a new episode of our Leaders in Customer Loyalty podcast, the Brand Stories Edition. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on YouTube and across our social media channels listed below. And until then, have a wonderful day, and thanks again for everything you do for customer loyalty.